So, coming from CNBC, the memory shortage shaking Apple and Microsoft is, quote, existential crisis for smaller players. And yeah, and this is one of my biggest frustrations with the AI fraud. It's not that dumb people are throwing their money into a dumpster fire to be burned away. That is not the thing that really irritates me. The big thing that irritates me with the whole AI fraud is that it is sucking all the oxygen out of the technology industry for everything other than artificial intelligence, right? We've seen a lot of boom and bust cycles, especially over the past decade or so, right? There was VR. Anybody who's followed me for a length of time knows how I felt about VR. But here's the thing with VR, right? I would get into an argument with people about VR, and then when I walked away from the argument with people about VR, it, it was over. It didn't actually affect me very much, right? I could still buy the computers that I wanted to buy. I could still access the services I want to access. Startup companies were not failing because VR was taking all the oxygen out of the room. Like VR was a concept that had some use. Again, to be clear, it has some use, but not nearly the use case that we were being told, and that is what it was, right? We see this with things like blockchain. I would go out there, I would get into really stupid arguments about blockchain, and then I would leave. And then it really didn't affect me. Now, to be clear, I am not a PC gamer. I'm a console gamer, so I do understand that Bitcoin and blockchain cause problems for PC gamers with being able to purchase GPUs. But basically, they were the only ones getting screwed over, and nobody's really gonna cry about a 40-year-old guy who can't buy a better GPU for his PC. I mean, it's sad and all, but yeah, nobody's gonna give you that much sympathy, right? But we've seen these boom and bust cycles, and they're their own weird little idiocy. But the nice thing is that they've been nicely contained. Like NFTs, NFTs were dumb, but NFTs were nicely contained. They again, if you wanted to throw money at NFTs, then you lost money on NFTs. Didn't affect me. The issue that we're running into with this whole AI disaster is it is screwing everybody. It's screwing normal citizens. We talk about water utilization or electricity prices going up. It's screwing, the technology companies with the problems with being able to purchase things like RAM and storage and all that kind of stuff. The prices of the computers are going up. But also one of the interesting things is that AI is basically sucking all the oxygen out of the room for other technology startups or technology companies that want to do things in the world of IT technology that aren't necessarily artificial intelligence related. I was talking to a buddy of mine with this in the technology world. Again, he's exited a startup company, he's been an investor, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that he was talking about is basically if you don't have AI in your pitch right now, you're not going to get any money. And the problem is, look, there's only so many vectors for AI. Even if AI is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and it is more dangerous than nuclear weapons, there's only so many ways to attack that particular problem. There's other technology that has value that needs to be developed, but the problem is those other routes for technology are now being starved of resources. Basically, what's happening is you have the investors and they only have one pot of money, right? If you're an investor and you have $1 million, it means you have $1 million. So before you might put your million, you might put 100,000 here and 100,000 here and 100,000 here and 100,000 here. So maybe you put 100,000 on networking stuff, and you put $100,000 on IoT, and maybe you put $500,000 on some kind of AI-ish type thing or whatever else. But you spread out your bets, and that put money, that put resources into many different sectors within the technology industry. The issue now is if you have $1 million, you're putting it all into AI, which means all of these other all these other companies, all of these other ideas that don't necessarily have a damn thing to do with artificial intelligence, they are now being squeezed dry for resources. And this is why I talk about the AI fraud being such a god-awful disaster. And this is why I despise Sam Altman, I despise Dara, and I despise Elon Musk, and I despise all the syphilitic bastards that are pushing this garbage upon the world, because not only is this going to fall apart, but when it does fall apart, we haven't been building, the foundations for our technical society in other realms. We've only been focused on this one thing. And so not only is this going to collapse, but we're also the other sectors that we would normally be able to rely on, those also haven't been funded appropriately. So we can't lean on them the way that we normally would be able to. It's all just stupid. So we take a look at this. Earlier this year, Mono Technologies assembled and shipped nearly 1,000 units of its flagship product, a $600 router development kit. Co-founder Tomaz Zaman, who started Mono in 2024, found early traction with networking aficionados who use the product to speed their internet connections. Then came the memory crunch, which has driven up the cost to produce practically every electronic device on the planet. Now Zaman isn't sure what to do, especially for the 1,300 prospective customers who put down a $100 deposit for his next product run. And this is the problem that we're dealing with right now, is simply the uncertainty, right? So you have an idea of what RAM should cost. You have an idea of what different things should cost. Yeah, there's inflation, plus there's the normal idiocy of tariffs or whatever else. Maybe it goes up by 5% or 10% or whatever else. You can deal with that. The issue that we're dealing right now with RAM prices is they're going up by hundreds of percents, and that's something that companies don't necessarily know what to do with. Mono's cost for 8 gigs of a type of DRAM from Micron shot up from $35 when he was first developing the product to $300 today. Now, to be clear, this is 8 gigs of DRAM. So this isn't the entire system on a chip. This isn't like the Raspberry Pi compute module. So you have a bunch of different things on there, and so the overall price went up. No, this is just the memory. Went from $35 to $300. At his 3-person company, Zaman said he hasn't decided if he'll go ahead with a second batch and increase the price by at least 1/3, or introduce a new model with 75% less capacity. So if they're already charging $600 for these routers, God bless, spaghetti monster bless, if you're getting $600 for these developer kits. So he can either jack up the price to $800 for the developer kit, or massively decrease the memory. Quote, even a router of our class, it's a poor value if you make it at $900 to $1,000, Zaman told CNBC in an interview. Quote, but we have to, or we trim it down to the bare minimums. But while tech giants like Apple and Microsoft, which both announced price hikes this week, have a hefty cash cushion, supply chain leverage, and customers numbering in the millions or billions, a much wider swath of businesses face potentially dire straits. Most consumer electronics companies have little margin to spare and can't confidently raise prices in an economy already grappling with inflationary pressures. And this is a big thing too to be thinking about, right? The economy is not good. Right, look, the economy wasn't good under Biden, and the economy is still not good under Trump. Right? Americans keep complaining about the economy. And when Americans complained about inflation and the economy under Biden, we got the largest climate change bill in history, called the Inflation Reduction Act. Anyways, when Americans complain about inflation under Trump, we go to war with Iran and spend $190 billion bombing the crap out of that country and closing the Strait of Hormuz. And that's the thing. Like people are already complaining about the economy, and then our presidents do something stupid. So that's one of the big things with these smaller technology companies is the whole question of, can they raise their prices, right? When you're Apple, you can raise your price by $300 or even $1,000 for some of the different systems, the higher end configured systems, because people know what they're buying from Apple and they've already bought into the ecosystem, right? If my computers went away and I had to buy a new computer, I would buy another Apple, even if the prices were increased, right? I know how I make my money. I know where Apple fits into my workflows and all of that kind of stuff. I have all of this stuff built out. And so even if the price of a Mac goes up, an Apple computer goes up, I will still foot that bill, because at the end of the day, I need to have access to the solution that I've gotten used to. The problem is once you start to have a lot of smaller companies out there It's much more of a discretionary purchase. Even the technology world, the stuff that goes into your data centers, the stuff that you deploy to your agents, your service technicians or whatever in the field. A lot of times you look at products and you go, huh, I wonder if that would help us. That might help us. And then you order 5 or 10, and you see what the hell happens. If it works, you buy 100 more. If it doesn't, they all go in the trash can. Here's the thing: you need a price point that is reasonable enough to buy 5 or 10 of these damn things, to test them out, to figure it out if you ever want them. If the price of these devices goes through the roof, it's just too expensive. Like, you just sit there as a decision maker. I am willing to put $1,000, or I'm willing to put $10,000 into this experiment to see what the results are. Again, even if they go in the trash can, $10,000 well spent. Now we understand what this technology does. The problem that you run into, though, is once the prices go too high, it's like I'm not spending $50,000. I will spend $10,000 for an experiment. Not going to spend $50,000 for an experiment. And so that's where a lot of these smaller technology companies, basically, where they're hitting, is they're at that market level where much of the sales that they do really are discretionary. And so if their prices go up massively, people just simply won't buy their damn products. Um, Let's see here. GoPro, and this is a funny one. Never even thought about this. GoPro, the struggling maker of action cameras, warned this month that it might go out of business after memory costs shot up between 80% and 115% at the end of the first quarter. And shares of the speaker maker Sonos are down 23% this year as memory prices pressure margins. So again, GoPro and Sonos. Sonos I thought was doing pretty good. I mean, GoPro I kind of thought was already dead, but it goes to show you. I mean, this is real. Let's see. An analyst for IDC described the current situation as a, quote, absolute existential threat for companies such as smaller Android phone manufacturers or, quote, local players that are making devices below $100. Quote, they won't be able to get the memory because memory suppliers are only answering calls from big players. So not only with this disaster is the price for memory high, but the price is high if you can get somebody to answer the phone. And so what these smaller manufacturers are finding is there's just nobody to answer the phone. Hey, what's worse than an AI powered auto attendant? Yeah, the phone doesn't even get picked up at all, is the issue these folks are dealing with. Micron said the average selling price of its dynamic RAM in the third quarter rose more than 260% from a year ago. So in 1 year, up by 260%. GoPro said in its warning to investors that it heard from memory suppliers in April about, quote, planned reductions in the production of memory used in its products, leading to lower projected sales volumes. So this is something to be thinking about, right? When these companies, SK Hynix and Samsung or whatever, they can produce different like memory components, and so they're producing things like high bandwidth memory. They're producing what the AI companies want. So again, it goes back to the whole thing. If the manufacturers don't produce the products that they were producing last year, a lot of these companies are not going to have access to the resources they need simply to be able to build their products. Elaine Ferguson, co-founder of W5 Technologies, is wrestling with how to deal with crippling RAM costs and lead times for the communications equipment her company makes for defense contractors. Earlier this year, W5 placed an order for a server from a major manufacturer to include in a satellite communications simulator that the company planned to deliver in May. Ferguson said the price when she ordered was $8,839, up from $5,373 in 2020, so up by about 40%. Since that purchase, the price has almost doubled. Quote, we just ordered another one for another sale, Ferguson said. Quote, it is now just under $15,000, and the lead time is anytime we get it. We're lucky to get it. And again, think about this as a decision maker. Think about you want to build out your little server room, for your company. You want to build out your little infrastructure. You call your vendor. You're like, yes, sir, I got my credit card. And they're like, yeah, great. Okay, so thanks for the money, and we will ship the product just as soon as we decide to get around to it. Oh my god. And one of the things I think about, especially with deployments, is we've gotten used to basically just-in-time inventory, right? You need servers, you need racks, you need equipment, unless it's the really high-end stuff. Like you, again, a couple of years ago, as long as you had a credit card, you could buy all the equipment for a server room and basically have it delivered in a week or two, depending on how heavy it is, whether it needs to go through freight, and be able to build out your server room, right? You have a startup company, you want to build your own little AI cluster or whatever else. You give your senior administrator the credit card, they swipe that, you get $500,000 of equipment dropped off at your doorstep. Like I say, in about 2 weeks, right? You can scale, you can move, relatively quickly in that type of environment. Imagine you give your senior level administrator the credit card to spend $500,000, and they come back and they're like, "Yep, they accepted the order." You're like, "Great, okay, great. So when is our server room going to be up and running?" It's like, well, depends on when we get the hardware. What does that mean? Um, yeah, they just accepted the order. We have no idea when we're actually going to get the hardware. The other thing to be thinking about too is, again, when you build out projects, you need a lot of different components for the projects, right? You need the switches and the routers and the servers and other kind of proprietary gear or whatever else. What happens when you're in an environment where your different vendors say, we will ship you the product whenever we get around to shipping you the product, and basically at any time your order might get canceled because they run out of the product. So imagine if you need 10, let's say you need 10 components to build your little AI data center cluster. You need 10 components. What happens if after 3 months you've gotten 8 of those components, and the final 2, you get emails saying that the order has been canceled because whatever, they're not able to actually be able to provision the equipment that they expected to be able to sell you. What happens then? What happens then? What happens when you swipe a credit card for $500,000? You then get $400,000 worth of equipment. You get refunded the other $100,000, but you don't know where to get those other components from. Right? This is the kind of insanity we are dealing with right now. Instead of getting it in May, Ferguson says she's now not expecting it until August. So again, they expected the server May. So May, June, July, sometime in August. Imagine getting servers 4 months after you expect to get them. And so, yes, this is the kind of stuff that is going on with the whole AI fraud, and how it is, basically it is destroying so much more than our civilization. Oh, you thought it was bad when AI was simply destroying our civilization. No, 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 no. AI will not settle simply for that. It's going to keep going. So what do you think about this? What do you think about the prices going up? Right? Micron was at 260% in a single year. What do you think about this with other technology vendors? Not the Apples and the Microsofts of the world, but other vendors out there that provide good quality hardware, right? You might expect you're building out a little server room. You go to a vendor, right? They're a smaller vendor, but they're a good vendor. All of a sudden, the price for their equipment has gone up by double. Or maybe they're not selling the products that you were expecting them to sell. What do you think about that? What do you think about AI literally sucking the blood out of everything that isn't part of their god awful little scam? I don't know. Put your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you like these episodes, do remember they are on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Link is down below. Also, if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a link down there too. With that, see y'all later.